What's up, everybody? Welcome back once again to the hillside. And today I'd like to just take you on just a quick tour of my front flower bed here and just talk about something that's recently came up that I just want to kind of share with you guys so you can kind of think about it when you design your flower beds or landscaping in your house. So in front of you, I have some dianthus that are still growing. And they're awesome right now. They're blooming. They're beautiful and everything. But what I really want to focus this video on is planting for pollinators and planting in succession. Now, what does that mean? So we all know that when the first signs of spring come along, you're going to get your tulips, your daffodils, hyacinth, things like this that are going to be early signs of spring and color and blooms. Well, as the season goes on, and I showed in one of my previous videos, these are my peony bushes right here. There's two actually kind of growing together in this big monster right here. This was then covered in absolutely just covered in flowers and pollinators. Bees were happy and loving it and doing a great job. Well, as you can tell, these flowers have fallen off. They've finished their cycle. So now, like I showed you before, the dianthus right here, these are in bloom, and this yarrow over here is just absolutely going nuts. There's bees and flies and stuff just buzzing around it all the time. So that's an excellent source of pollen for your garden as well. And then moving along back over to here, these are just some more annuals that I have planted and some petunias that are growing right here. So that being said, as all this kind of goes into effect and the season wears on, these things are going to start fading away. And what happens is, right here, these are dahlias. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 2 right here. So there's 5 dahlias that'll all start blooming, and they'll last until the first frost, even survive maybe right to 32 degrees, a couple chilly nights, but by then the plants are pretty much spent anyways. But these things are going to bloom continuously until, like I mentioned, the first frost and fall weather really starts setting in. But these things are awesome. They're going to attract tons of bumblebees. All the beneficials are going to be just swarming all over these dahlia bulbs, flowers. So mentioning that, and as well, these are the Calla lily, and there's another Calla lily over here that I've divided. I'm not sure how beneficial those are for pollinators, as I just planted these last year and I really haven't paid much attention to them. So if you have some experience with those, let me know. I'll have to do some more research, but they're also set a different flash of color. And speaking of color, I like to include many different colors. I think because different insects or different pollinators are attracted to different color flowers. I think I read that before, so it kind of gives a different viewpoint, for attracting different insects. And plus, variation in the color actually helps to accent your landscaping. So when you design a bed, or you're designing any kind of landscaping in general, you need to plan for spring, and not just spring in general, but early spring, late spring, early summer, late summer, early fall, and if you live in a certain climate that the weather is beneficial to growing plants still, think about winter gardening. Okay, think about keeping a continuous flow of plants and different pollinators and different things going all at once, because that's what's going to attract pollinators to your garden, but it's what's going to keep them around as well. So a passing bee is going to see some flowers in the spring, and if those flowers fade away, well, they're going to find somewhere else to go and forage for pollen. So as long as you have a succession of different plants, you're attracting different pollinators. They're going to stay in your garden. All right, and these beneficials are going to help grow your plants. Beneficial insects are also they're beneficial for the plants themselves, but they're also beneficial in a lot of ways by eliminating pests in your garden. So you want to attract the good guys to take care of the bad guys. And this garden here, this flower bed, has never been sprayed with insecticide. There are no pesticides here. All these plants are healthy and doing just fine. But I attribute that to, in many ways, the organic practices, but also by not giving the insects reason to go away. They're always going to be around. There's always something for everybody. These lilies over here, they're also in full bloom, doing some pollen. And this one little marigold, if you can see that little guy down there, that's just now starting to bloom. But I have so many things here kind of crowded in pots and things going on where I've been planting things out like crazy. But I'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Oh, sorry, one last thing. This plant right here, it's obviously not blooming, but is Tithonia. It's also called Mexican sunflower. It'll be tall. It has bright orange daisy-like flowers, and it also acts as a way station for monarchs. So we all know monarchs. They lay their eggs in the cocoons or whatever on milkweed. Milkweed, I've tried to grow it. The deer eat it, and selfishly, it's not really the most beautiful landscaping plant for like a formal border kind of thing like this. So if you have a meadow or a wooded area, absolutely plant some milkweed. That's just my opinion for just aesthetics in your landscaping. However, this Tithonia here will be covered in monarchs, and other butterflies will be absolutely attracted and swarming to it. So that does give the monarchs a little something on their journey. This is a Mexican sunflower. It's going to bloom in late summer up into the frost. So there you go. That's another idea for a late season plant. It's also going to have at least my experience, the deer haven't messed with it. So it's a deer deterrent as long as everything else in this bed. Through trial and error, because if it wasn't deer resistant, with as many deer we have as deer pressure in this neighborhood, in this urban setting, it wouldn't be around. So these are just some ideas of what you can grow to attract pollinators, to keep pollinators, to repel the deer, and just to go overall just look beautiful as well. So it checks all the boxes. Think about pollinators in succession. Think about the entire growing season. Don't just think about the immediate splash of color. You're trying to put a couple flowers out. Think about the whole permaculture, the whole system, how it's going to work from spring to fall and even into winter, with the pollinators, the soil, the whole network, how it all works together to help give you guys a beautiful garden, wonderful landscaping, mutually beneficial system for the insects and the plants. And I can't say enough about it. And once you get to a certain point, this is basically hands off. It just kind of grows on its own. I just kind of make sure that every now and then a random weed will grow and I'll pull it out. But other than that, it takes care of itself. So think permaculture, think perennial, think long term. Have a plan, and you guys have a happy gardening this year. Hope this helps somebody else out there, and hopes gives you guys some things to think about when you're planting your flower beds and your borders. So we'll check you out next time here on the hillside. All right, guys, bye bye.